You're listening to Real Folk with me, Jo Burke. So it's episode number 25 of Real Folk. That's a lot of listening, isn't it, listener? I know, poor ears, but thank you for lending them to me. This week, I am delighted to have with me Claire Storey, actor, stage, screen, audiobooks. How many audiobooks have you done, Claire?
I think it's nearly 100 now.
Hundreds of audiobooks. So we're going to get to know all about the lovely, divine Claire Storey.
Yay!
And just for transparency, she's in her pyjamas, people. She's in her gym jams.
Well, you could call them pyjamas. I'm wearing a NASA T-shirt and a pair of little sleeping shorts with giraffes on them.
Oh, well, that's an unusual combo, isn't it?
I chose this outfit just for you, Jo.
Giraffes in space. Who doesn't love that?
I was watching, it's on the Disney Channel, and there's a fantastic documentary about an astronaut called Sally Ride. I don't know if you've heard of her or you know
I have.
of it. And it was very interesting, and it made me think. I don't know. Do kids still want to go into space? Do little girls and boys still want to be astronauts? I don't know if they all just want to be influencers or something these days. But
no, I think you're right.
Anyway, so I thought I'd wear my NASA T-shirt in bed just as just because I want to be an astronaut now. All of a sudden,
excellent.
When I grow up.
Let me know, A, when you grow up, and B, if that happens. I'll have you back on. Everyone's going, okay, Jo, we've had enough of that. Get on with it. Who is Claire? Where do we know her from? What's she done? And I can tell you, dear listeners, that Claire has popped up on your televisual boxes on almost all the soaps. So if you watch a soap, you will have seen her lovely smiley face on it at some point. So am I right in saying you have been in Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, Coronation Street?
Yes.
Carry on. How many are there? How many more are there?
Well, Doctors, which of course, may it rest in peace.
Yes,
and,
bless its heart.
Call the Midwife.
Call the Midwife. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably most of them, isn't it?
I think that's quite a lot. And the only one I noticed that was glaringly missing was EastEnders. So you're due a job on there, surely.
Well, you see, now I'm down here. You see, for many years, for some reason, although I was born in Kent, I have been a sort of honorary northerner. And there is no northern in me at all. But for some reason, and I never quite figured how, even when I was living in London before for many, many years, I had an agent based up in the north. I worked for a long time for a theatre company called the Northern Broadsides, who are still going very strongly today, run by a famous manager, actor, director called Barry Rutter. And his company did Shakespeare, but we did it in broad northern accents.
Nice.
And it's great. It was a great company and everything. But I had to pretend to be northern, not only for the plays that I was in, but like all the time. Even socialising and at the audition and things like that. And Barry always, and to this day, still thinks that I am actually a northerner.
Really?
Well, yeah,
that's the testament.
I got away with it.
Yeah,
but I'm really not. And actually, I moved up north. So, in a nutshell, I moved to London when I was 18 to go to drama school. I went to Mount View Theatre School.
Darling.
In North London, which is now in South London, but in North London then. Lived then in London for 30 odd years. For love, I moved to the north. Which all went terribly wrong. But I ended up living in a really lovely little town called Hebden Bridge, which is between Manchester and Leeds. Lived up there for 6 years, I think. And during that time, I did, quite a bit of the northern soaps. So things like,
Emmerdale.
Corrie and Emmerdale. Sorry. And... yeah, and always. And if I auditioned for something, they'd always say, okay, so this character, she's bubbly, she's friendly. And I went, you mean you want me to be northern? Yes, if you could be. It's always, friendly. Oh, northern, yeah.
I was just going to say that the reason I think you get, literally, that is just proof of what I was about to say. I wish I'd said it sooner now. I was going to say, I reckon you get cast as a northerner because if you've got such, honestly, there will be a photo of Claire attached to this episode. But and if you've seen her in anything, you have got one of the just most friendliest, loveliest faces.
Oh,
you
well,
really
nice
have. You really have. And I think people think that you can't possibly be from London.
Well,
you don't look cross enough.
Well, the thing is, I did enjoy being up in Hebden Bridge and being an honorary northerner, although actually discovered as soon as I lived in the north that I absolutely wasn't a northerner. And, they took the piss out my accent, something terrible, because I couldn't sort of have a vague sort of northern accent talking to people who are actually northern because they're like, what? What
Who
are you doing?
Where are you from?
Exactly. So yeah, I actually feel now that I'm down south again. I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to pretend to be northern anymore.
No. So if you practice your South East London accent, you'll get a gig on EastEnders.
But you know what? If they put me in EastEnders, you'd probably give me a northern character. She's friendly. She's northern.
She's flown in.
And also actually with the audiobooks, I started doing audio books about a year or so before the pandemic kicked in. So by which time I'd built myself a home studio in my little cottage in Hebden Bridge and started to do audiobooks. And of course, it was a wonderful thing to be able to do during the pandemic because I was supposed to start rehearsals for a play on something like March the 20-something.
Exactly, that's when it all shut down.
Exactly. And, rumours are rife. Nobody knows what's happening. Is the play going ahead? Are we going to even have an audience? How can I go and stay in somebody's house when everyone's got, And of course, that was when Boris came on and told us we got to stay indoors. And I was living in Hebden, as I say, had been there a year or so, but had been working a lot in theatre and going away. And I wasn't used to being at home, and I was living on my own. And suddenly realising that I couldn't go out in the evenings. I didn't know anybody then in Hebden. So I was literally bubbling on my own, making videos of myself crying out of windows and doing audiobooks. And that's when it all sort of, I managed somehow to work pretty much through the pandemic doing that.
That's great.
And even actually did a play for a company called The Space, who were in London. They did a little festival during I don't know why we got onto the subject of the pandemic, but because I brought it up. They did a festival of two-handers, which were done over Zoom.
Nice.
And it was really lovely. I did this play with this woman called Ali Perotti, who I did eventually meet. But of course, we rehearsed it, a couple of 2 or 3 days of rehearsal with the director and the writer and the other actress. And then we did this festival where, one evening we live Zoomed this play with, hundreds of people. And actually to be performing, getting a half-hour call and beginners in your bedroom on your own, haven't actually seen any people for days. It went really well.
Quite surreal, isn't it? Were you in your pajamas or did you bother to put a costume on?
I was wearing a rather lovely silky dressing gown, actually.
Oh, still pajamas, ladies and gents. There you go.
It was a little bit naughty. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you managed to make the pandemic work for you. And it's funny, it quite often comes up, even though it's years ago. And I think the reason it always seems to come up when I'm having chats is I think a lot of creatives were mostly hit really badly by it. And so it's sort of still a wound. And although everyone's like, oh, that's so past, it's, forget about it. It's like,
but I think we're still affected by it, don't you, Jo?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we're still getting the whatever you call it, fallback, blowout, whatever. Because
fallout.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Because of, the creativity, there was a little boom, but now people are still slightly nervous. The money is no longer there. The theatre companies are now doing lots of co-pros. So there's like a theatre will link up with 2 or 3 others to put on a production, because then they've got that sort of smaller pool of money. But it means great for the people who get the jobs, but for the it's fewer actors, fewer productions.
Yep.
And I think that we're going to be seeing that for a few more years to come, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there needs a whole lot of bigger discussions about funding and the way it all works. And I mean, there's so many things that I think are wrong with even the casting side of everything as well.
Yes.
On these self-tapes drive me nuts.
Do they?
On a personal level,
like them.
I like. No, don't get me wrong. I like them. I think we should be paid for them because I think they save so much money, and they can just. And how often do you think that they look at all of them?
Absolutely. No,
so I think they would choose and be more careful about who they're asking to do them if we got a minimum fee of 50 quid or 25 quid, just something that makes them go, oh, okay, I'll only do, I don't know.
It's true.
20 of these.
That's very true. But also, then there's always the chance that you wouldn't be one of those, I feel that what it does mean, especially if you live just out of London or even a long way from London, everything is so London centric. The fact that by doing a self-tape, we do get seen, even if we are amongst 250 people who are also auditioning for the same one-line part, if they said, oh, we've got to pay them all 50 quid, let's only see 10, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think that they do. I personally think that once they've found whoever they think is right, or enough of a choice for whoever's going to make
they don't bother looking anymore.
No, I don't. That's I'm just convinced. Talking about the business and your audio work, audio books aren't just ones that Claire narrates. She actually writes them as well. And she kindly sent me the link to one called You, We, a one-man show. And I had a little listen to that.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to know what, things about what inspired you to do it. And
well, that is interestingly, that's a play that I started to write probably about 3 or 4 years ago. It's about the artist Hannah Gluckstein, who was a fabulous character, a very well-to-do daughter of the family who owned the Trocadero and the Lions Corner houses and things in the 1920s, the Glucksteins, business people who allowed her to go to art school. She became incredibly flamboyant, bohemian, started to dress in men's clothes, shagging. Am I allowed to say shagging?
Oh, say whatever you like.
Do people still say shagging?
Well, yeah.
Well, I just did.
I was literally going to say that.
She was absolutely wonderful. There was must have been something so sexy about her because she basically was going around shagging everybody's wives, in plain sight. I mean, I know the 1920s was supposed to be a sort of a bit of a the whole Bloomsbury set and everything like that, and decadent homosexuality. But she just got in there and she seduced all these amazing people. She had an unhappy love life in the end because the person she fell in love with never left her husband, because obviously, I don't know, while people kind of turned a blind eye, I think, to same-sex relationships, they certainly couldn't get married or live together in, plain sight. And so, yes, so I wrote that play. I finished it. I mean, it's still in development. There's still lots to do. Actually, Sharon Burrell, who I know you know, the writer-director, suggested to me, because I was just telling her I'd finished this script and I was wondering what to do with it and, how to get it out there. And she said, I think maybe as you have the ability and the equipment in your little studio, why don't you record it? And so I recorded it myself because she said, I think people these days are more likely to listen to something than they would be to sit and look at a script.
Absolutely, because you gave me that choice and it's just much easier for me to.
And actually I'm, even though it's my job, I find it very hard to read scripts. I somehow looking at it written down, I can't lift the idea off the page. Even sometimes if I'm about to start rehearsing a play with other people, obviously I've read the script before I turn up to rehearsals, probably the night before or something. But I turn up to rehearsals and then we have the read through and then it comes to life, doesn't it? And then you go, Ah, I see. Everything. So actually, it was an interesting experience for me to record it, having written it, because that helped me to go, that doesn't really flow. I might move that line around, or that word feels awkward. So I sort of wrote it as I recorded it. I used an effect on my voice because I've got quite a young, squeaky voice. Gluck, I think, was probably a little bit more butch than me. So I used a pitch effect. And suddenly for me, it made it not me anymore. I was able to listen to it as if another actor was performing it. And that helped me to write it as well. So that's what it is. I'm glad that you've had a listen.
And I loved it. So,
Thank you.
I'm glad you said, I didn't know this was a real person. I didn't know anything about it, actually.
Yeah, well, that's great, actually, isn't it?
But immediately it reminded me of, there's a beautiful film called Virginia and Vita. And it reminded me of that film.
Yeah.
And obviously the connections are, you mentioned the Bloomsbury set anyway already.
Yeah. But have you been to Sissinghurst?
Yes, I have, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All of that.
It's just so beautiful. But the way you've recorded it, it's really simple, but it's really evocative. I really felt that you were in that situation. And I really genuinely felt like it's very difficult, or it's a great skill rather, I think, when you're doing a one-woman show or a one-woman audio piece, to really bring alive, like you've just said, it's hard to do from the page, but in your own person and voice, other characters, just by secondhand talking about them,
Yeah.
And I really felt like you were a master of that. I thought it was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
would you like to put some money into my play, please?
I would love to. The thing is, it's also, I immediately wanted to see it as a one-woman show on stage.
Yeah.
So,
good. Well, that's
or to be fleshed out and have a film like Vita, and because I love finding out about these women, because we've been so overlooked in history and cast aside. So I immediately loved the story, and then from what we were just speaking about just now, it also reminds me of, even earlier, of the series that Saran Jones did brilliantly with Sally Wainwright, is Jumping Jack. Honey said Jumping Jack.
Jumping Jack.
Jumping Jack Flash.
Yes. Yeah, that was a great one, wasn't it? Yeah,
Gentleman Jack.
Saran Jones, who seems to make made quite a career out of playing gay characters. But yes, isn't she fabulous as Gentleman Jack?
Oh, I mean, amazing.
And actually, where I was living in Hebden Bridge, that was very, very close to Halifax, which is where all that was set. Sally Wainwright loves that part of the world because that was where, what's the thing?
Happy families. Happy. I'm doing all of the wrong things.
Happy Valley. And Happy Families. Yeah. One Jumping Jack. Yes. And the Last Tango in Halifax. Yes. And also Riot Women, which is the new Sally Wainwright, which is coming out very soon. All the time I was living there, I never managed to get into any of these bloody things.
That's a shame.
Yes, but Anne Lister, who was Gentleman Jack.
That's correct.
Yeah, there's all these women, strong women who have done something quite incredible. And the thing I'm most interested in with Gluck is very few people have heard of her. Is that, as an artist, I mean, her stuff is exquisite. I don't know if you ever get a chance, just Google Gluck art and you'll see that a real diverse range of styles.
Is it Gluck?
Yeah. That's what she liked to be called. Just Gluck. She didn't want to be anything else. No prefix, suffix, etc.
Yeah.
But she. Her artwork is beautiful, but I don't think very many people have heard of it. She did a self-portrait, which I think is fabulous, which I've had in my house for ages. Not the original, I hasten to add, but as a sort of inspiration, it's Gluck in her 70s painting she's done of herself. The original is now in the newly refurbished portrait gallery, and I went up to London to see it, and it's so high up on the wall, you can hardly
see it.
You wouldn't even know. I doubt many people would notice it unless they were taking in every single picture in the room. And that was almost the inspiration itself, to see this incredible woman with this incredible legacy of art in this tiny little picture right up in the sky on one of those massive walls at the portrait gallery.
And what happened to her? So what was...
She, I like to say she died of a broken heart. She was actually quite a grumpy old lady, I think, by the end. She, after she lost her big love, this wonderful American woman who, as I say, never left her husband, she settled down with somebody else. And they were together for 30 odd years, but I don't think it was a particularly happy relationship. And Gluck outlived Edith. And she eventually died in her 80s. There was an exhibition. She did have a sort of retrospective exhibition at the Art Society, I think in the, I want to say the 80s or something.
Right.
I would love my play to be seen.
Yeah.
I would love it to be staged. I've got so many ideas for it. I'm broke, so I really sort of need somebody to collaborate with, really, and try and get it on, because I think it's such an interesting life and such an evocative period, wonderful music, wonderful, but I'm just fascinated with the way she presented herself, and she must have been so sexy. I mean,
yes.
And I sort of allude to it in the play a little bit. She does sort of talks about how to seduce a woman, and it made me go, oh, funny.
But I mean, these women, they were trailblazers, and
totally.
And I mean, really, I think, especially even in as sort of early as the 20s, you still, it was all illegal. It was frowned upon. And hidden, and
totally.
women weren't in control of their destiny. And
it was fascinating, and these stories shouldn't be forgotten. And I'm always interested in stories about people. There's a play about to open at the Old Vic called Mary Page Marlowe, starring Suzanne Sarandon. It's written by Tracy Letts. I don't know if you know of him. He's I can't remember what else he's written, but this is a play which I've been lucky enough to read, which is about a woman, just a woman's life. I'm not going to advertise the play. The idea of writing about somebody who maybe wasn't even very remarkable, who just had a story, because God, we've all got a story. We can make a few films out of all of our lives.
Absolutely. And also, you had me at Susan Sarandon, by the way. So, I just, there's actors that it doesn't matter what they're in. I know, no, I just totally love her morally and everything she stands for. So I would go and see her in whatever project she's
great.
doing.
Isn't she great? Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. But yes, people writing plays, and also, of course, I'm always up for things which have got lots of women in. I did a play which I was so enjoyed at the beginning of this year, called The Trial of Witches, which was at Bury St Edmunds, and that was written by a writer called Tallulah Brown. And that was an all-female cast, set in 1643 in Suffolk, about the witch trials, basically. And, of course, that's another part of history, which is fascinating. I think there's a few things coming out this year which are sort of talking about that.
But it's interesting you should say about the witches, though, because the parallels with that are enormous as well. And I've just read a couple of good books, and I can't remember How to Kill a Witch. It's sort of it's like a comedy. It's not comedy, actually. It's very engrossing and sad.
Funny.
But it's written by some lawyers up in Scotland, because in actual fact, Scotland killed the most witches. And when we say witches, people, we just mean women. It was an excuse to kill women.
Exactly. women who spoke a little too loud, or
were clever enough to know how to use certain medicines that grow naturally to heal people and to help children survive and mothers childbirth.
Yes,
it was
absolutely.
It was a big old excuse to kill hundreds of women, basically. Yeah. And I didn't know this, but the large majority in the UK were in Scotland. And these two lawyers, and there's no statues, there's no anything. So they got together to write this book and research the witch trials. And they go over to Salem and talk to people in Salem. which is often considered the most, the highest number, but it's not. It's Scotland, apparently. And very interesting if you want to know about the history of witches, because it sort of spans it all.
It's fascinating and heartbreaking, and unfortunately, we can see these things still happening, women being shouted down. It's quite scary.
Yeah. Let's go back to your lovely script. So you're putting a shout out then. So any producers out there?
Absolutely. And seriously about that, I would love to get this play seen, and I would love to direct it. I would love to get another actor to play the part, but if we haven't got the money, I'll do it. Save on paying an actor. But
so what age would she have been in the play that you've written?
Well, the way I've written her, she is probably in her late 60s. I do have ideas to develop it a little, so that there's actually, I'd like to, it's at the moment it's probably running around an hour and a bit. I think I'd like to develop it so there was actually another version of Gluck on stage when she was young and incredible, and singing. Possibly experiment with some interaction between the two of them, but that's the expensive version,
So was she? You said singing. Was she a singer then? Did she sing?
Well, her mother was an opera singer, and she did some singing. When you're a nice young lady in those days, you had to be able to sing and play the piano and do all these things. Exactly, because ultimately all you expected to do was get married to some bloke, and then you'd be fine.
You had to entertain them.
Exactly, you've got to find a way to
in every way.
In every way, yes, and apparently she had quite a voice, so it wouldn't be. She rather boastfully says in the script, I could have gone that way, but I chose art instead. But yeah, apparently she did have quite a good singing voice and was quite entertaining. But, the opportunity to use some of the songs of that time, Cole Porter, Noel Coward.
Amazing.
And I always find Noel Coward stuff, the funny stuff is great, but some of the longing, I don't know. Did you ever see the Emma Rice version of Brief Encounter?
No.
Oh God, it was heartbreaking. So it was Brief Encounter, the story, which was obviously Noel Coward, but they used some of his poetry because of course he was,
he was a genius. I can't. There's just nothing he did that. He's a bit like Susan Sarandon to me. If anything is like Noel Coward, I'm like I'm in 100%.
But there is this poetry which I think sort of. And until she used it in this thing, in this play, because he was gay and had to hide it, and although he probably
hid it less well than most.
Pushed it to the boundaries, but that sort of that constant craving, that longing. I think therefore it would be lovely to be able to add some music to the play.
Sounds amazing. I'm just aware. Sorry to interrupt, dear lovely Claire. Shall we log off and log on again before it chucks us out? Only if you are. If you've got time before you go down to London.
Oh no, absolutely. As long as you're not nodding.
Yes, I'm nodding in agreement. No, I'm not nodding. Nodding in agreement.
So what shall I do? Just do it again?
Yeah. Give me sort of like 2-3 minutes, because when I stop this, it just downloads it. Yeah, and then I'll just come back in again. So give it 5. Grab a drink.
Do I stay here or
you can go and do whatever you want, and let's give it. What time is it now? 30. So about 1:45, or do you need longer or less than that? 1:45. Cool.
Yeah, great. I'll
see you in a sec. Bye. Hello and welcome back, dear listener. Claire Storey, are you there? Come in, Claire Storey. I could just edit this out, but I don't. I don't know why. I just like to make a feature of it now. Come in, Claire Storey. Claire Storey, are you with us?
I have returned.
She's like some sort of villain from Doctor Who.
Yes, available for any voiceover.
Have you changed your T-shirt? Is that the same one you had on?
No, I've done nothing. I'm still sat here in me jammies.
done nothing. She's been to the toilet in her booth. It's disgusting.
Well, long, hard hours. You've got to keep working.
Just popping continent pants on, that's fine. We were talking about your wonderful production and hopeful production of your one-woman show. But I was just thinking that we haven't actually spoken about how it all started for you. How did your acting journey sort of come about? Are you from a very well-off, famous acting family?
I wish I could have had a surname that would have got me through doors, but no, I didn't. My dad, sadly gone, as is my mum, but my dad was a musician, but a music teacher. He was in the army as a bandmaster. My mum was a nurse. I honestly don't know why I wanted to become an actor. I found that, I wasn't brilliant at anything really at school. Very much, I suppose, a bit more creative than scientific. I could make people laugh, and I got attention that way. And I think that's probably how most actors, because they just want everyone to love them.
We do.
So yeah, I suppose I went to Saturday morning drama club, as we all do. There was a lovely lady there called Margaret O'Dwyer, who is, I'm almost certain, definitely passed, because she'd probably be about 140 by now. But she used to wear pashmina, and actually, I mean, I was maybe 9 or 10 when I started going there. Everyone thought I was a little boy because my dad brought me on his motorbike. So I'd come in with my little short haircut that my mum had given me and a motorbike helmet. And so I always got the little boys' parts as well, because there weren't many boys in the group. But anyway, we did drama, and we did breathing exercises. We did Alexander technique, and I decided I wanted to go to drama school.
And was that, obviously not coming from a moneyed background, was that difficult for you, or was that
those were the days when you got a discretionary grant from your council, and it was, when would I have gone? I went to drama school in 1984, and there wasn't any problem with me getting a grant then. I mean, it wasn't huge, and I think Mum and Dad still had to kind of help out a bit. But, those were the days when you got £5 out of the cash point, and that lasted you all week, didn't it?
And change.
And 2 or 3 sessions in the pub. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was tough for them. They had to pay my rent in a little bed sit in Crouch End, and but they were happy days, Jo.
Were they?
I loved drama school, and I could never understand why there were grumpy people there. I couldn't understand why. I don't know. Did you go to drama school? Did you?
I did. Well, I was a late bloomer, you see. So I'm from Council Estate. Loved drama at my very rough secondary school, but you weren't allowed to do it past the age. When you had to choose your options, you couldn't.
Exactly,
it wasn't an option.
It wasn't an option. Yeah.
What do you love doing? I love doing that. Well, you can't anymore.
Yeah, we can't do that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then I wasn't encouraged, even though I was in the top group for things, I wasn't encouraged, and no one told me that there was university or anything like that. So I went to work at 16, basically, in Barclays Bank. And then I'd always wanted to do it, and I saved up enough money. And at 27, I enrolled in Goldsmiths and did it myself.
Good for you. Bloody good for you. And you know what? I think really and truly that's in some ways a better route, because there are, and I think even more so these days, a lot of kids who do have the bug, who do want to go to drama school, they want to go to theatre school or become, musical theatre stars and stuff like that. I think that the reality of it doesn't really sink in. And so, if they are lucky enough, and unfortunately now without sort of arts grants, really, it really is the privileged ones who go off and train. And there's so many of them now. There's so many drama schools. And then every year they churn out hundreds of kids who are 20, 21, bright-eyed and fabulously talented probably, but there isn't enough work for them. And I think to have that it wouldn't have felt like an opportunity for you at 16 because you weren't doing what you really wanted to do. But to go away and then, know that you still wanted to do that job and you had a bit of life experience, probably made you all the better for it.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it's a lot of it's a lot at that age. I feel sorry for them, to be honest. It's so totally harsh, much harsher than we had it even.
It's incredibly harsh, and with the way that kids have hard enough time these days trying to constantly on Insta trying to attain brilliant things with their bodies and their faces and being, having the likes and it's so hard for them to get that anyway. But then to put themselves into a horrible, competitive, brutal industry as this at the age of 2021, what is it? Something like only 5% of actors are working. It's probably even less than that, isn't it? That's what they said in back in the day. 95% of actors are unemployed at this time.
Exactly. Yes,
and I'm sure it's more.
Welcome to our world, people. If you only do this
pajamas.
job if you really love it. I'm not. Can I just say I'm not in my pajamas?
Sorry, I do apologise. I'm in my pajamas. Claire. Yes. Yes.
But then I think it does, like you were just saying, it sorts the wheat from the chaff, doesn't it? I think if you've got a longing to do it, you'll make it happen at some point. Whatever that is. I'm not talking about just acting. I'm talking about
of course.
If you've got a lifelong thing that you love and you've been unable to do it,
it will not be beaten within you. Yeah.
And it'll come out. I think you can't help it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
oozes out of you over the years.
Well, exactly. You are with your podcasts. You are creating your own stuff. You are. I think if you're a creative person, it'll have to find a way out. It's like a bag full of jelly with a hole in it. It's got to find a way to come out somewhere. Whether you're singing or doodling or writing poetry or anything. It will come out. It has to come out. Otherwise, you're not your authentic self.
Also, there's so many actors that are huge now that didn't start till late in life, actually. No. Like Morgan Freeman and Brenda Blethyn. Yeah. There's like huge amounts. And I think that's the other thing that youngsters confuse. I think, and it doesn't have to all be now and while you're at your like peak physically, you can just live a little and enjoy life and you'll have more to tell.
And you'll
cope with it better.
I sometimes worked with young actors who've done nothing but live and breathe, performance. And so how can they draw upon an experience or draw upon somebody, relate to experience if they've never had any experience apart from, other actors.
And it's the same with writing as well. It's my advice to other writers as well is always to just go out and experience stuff and sit in coffee shops, overhear people and pay attention to what's going on. And
find what makes you unique rather than, absolutely.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? So you got into Mount View and you had, what was the name of this wonderful lady? I love that kind of accent. Do go to the theatre.
Margaret O'Dwyer.
Oh, it's such a great name.
She was, I think she was probably an actress back in her day. I mean, she was fabulous. I actually, I sometimes when I did get into drama school and even since then, when I've done various exercises that one does maybe in rehearsals or breathing exercises, and I mentioned Alexander technique, etc. Even kind of guided meditation. I mean, we were kids lying on the floor, 9, 10 years old for an hour's class on a Saturday morning. She did guided meditation with us. You're walking through a lovely forest and it was brilliant. People pay a fortune for that these days. I feel quite lucky that my 10p a week on a Saturday morning. And I think we were terrified of us. So we were all pretty disciplined. We were never late. You learnt your lines if you were doing a play. I think.
What was the first play you did? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, it would have been something something for her. I remember getting to play buttons, which I was very excited about. Say there weren't enough boys in the company, so I got to do that. Oh, I did the murder of Mariah Martin in some youth festival. I played Mariah Martin's mother. Do you know the story of the Red Barn, the poor girl that was killed by her landlord, in the 16 whatever. No. But anyway, it's a play. It's been performed in various different ways and things. But yeah, I played her mum. I was probably about 11 or something.
Talented. Back in the beginning,
I could metamorphosize myself into a 65-year-old woman. The first professional play I was in was it was a tour, and it was called 3 Steps to Heaven, which was a musical play about Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper after they had their fatal air crash.
Oh, right.
They go to this sort of place between earth and heaven.
Limbo.
And talk about their lives. And there's this celestial angel who plays the guitar and looks a little bit like Patsy Cline.
Was that you?
Me. That was me, yeah.
So again, a multi-talented, you sing as well?
I'll get away with it.
She gets away with it.
Yeah.
What's your favourite song?
What's my favourite song?
You don't need to answer. I don't know why I even said it.
God, I have no idea. The last song I heard.
What's your favourite? Because you've done such a lot. You've done, a huge amount on, as we said right at the beginning, on stage and screen. Which do you prefer, or do you they each have their own place, or which of the disciplines, you've done all the most of the soaps. Is there a favourite one that you had, and the same with stage plays? Have you done the same play more than once and you love it, or?
Yeah, I do love the theatre, and if you'd asked me a few years ago, stage or screen, I would absolutely have said stage, because the bulk of my career has been theatre, touring and a bit of West End and regional stuff and Christmas shows and things. I do play instruments to a minor degree, and I've got away with it to do a lot of actor muso shows.
So hang on. Let's reverse. Beep, 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 beep. This conversation is reversing. Musical instruments, Claire. Which do you play?
It depends who's asking.
I am.
Are you casting me in a music? I play the guitar, the keyboards, the drums, a saxophone. I play. My dad was a music teacher, so I play to a certain extent the piano, everything. The sax, the clarinet, the drums, and the guitar.
Oh my goodness!
And have used them all at various times during shows. Yeah, there has been a real in recent years a big trend to have actors who can perform on instruments as well, because obviously it saves money on a band.
That's right.
But also it's quite a beautiful way of expressing a scene, I think. If it's done well. But yeah, theatre's my thing really. But I have started recently doing a bit more telly and discovered I really do like it. I thought I didn't. I think the pressure of soaps is hard if you go in and do smaller roles, which is what I've done, sort of what they call day roles. You might have a few scenes or be there for 2 or 3 days, but you're not. I haven't done a long running character on a soap, and so you are required for telly. The soap's been going for donkey's years in most cases. Everybody knows each other. It's a well-oiled ship. Yeah. You go in.
Don't fuck up.
Yeah, totally. It really is that. You learn your lines. You don't, the question you forgetting lines is not even an option. You don't have no. You've got to come in. There's 45 people in the room.
Hit your marks, hit your lines and off.
Fuck off. Yeah, and there's the canteen, but you haven't got time because you've got to go.
The magic of television, people.
Yeah, and actually, although I've had some nice experiences doing that, I don't. It feels like a completely different job. But I've been lucky enough to have a few things recently where I've thought, this is actually I've enjoyed. I did a sort of longer running story on Corrie and had 3 or 4 separate days there, and you start to sort of relax into it and see the way things work and get to know people a bit better and think, I could kind of like this. It's a totally different job from theatre. You get no feedback, you get no bars every night, you get the stamina of but I think people who do telly well, I have got so much admiration for them, because it really is an art form to do it well. Their technique, and to be able to bring what they bring so immediately without weeks of rehearsals, or without, I got it better last night, I'll do it, better tomorrow, or you've got one chance, and they do it. They do really well.
Yeah, I think it's the camaraderie of theatre is the nice thing as well, isn't it? It's like a family. Yeah, totally.
And that's what I really thrive on, and that's why I find it hard in periods of no work, which of course come. But it's tough, because your theatre family, provide you not only with work and financially, and but also social life and emotional support, and there's nothing beats being in a good team of
professionals.
Yeah, absolutely, doing a good job, and everyone working towards the goal of putting on a great show, and I love that.
Yeah, me too.
I love to feel part of it.
Yeah.
And if I haven't got it, I miss it. I miss it terribly.
Yeah, it's like a hole, isn't it? It's a hard void to fill. So you have to fill it yourself. That's hence the podcast, exactly. Hence all the other stuff, the writing and the
exactly. That's why I say, Jo, you obviously, not just you can't wait for these things to come. You have to make them. And I have a lot of friends. We're now getting. We've all been around a while, who are now sort of making their own stuff, using maybe Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that, because they realise that's a good way to get, but little comedy characters, friends of mine who are doing, writing and getting involved in all that and making their own films. And it's brilliant. And it's nice to, always sort of be in touch with those things that are happening. It's exciting to... and that's how things become Fleabag, or whatever else. I say Fleabag because I just started watching again.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
it's Claire. So sorry, I think my elderly mum who's living with me has just buzzed her buzzer. Can I just go and check that she's all right? I'm so sorry. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Do you want to finish this so that you're not hanging around?
I'm absolutely fine if you want to go and come back, or whatever works for you, Jo.
Okay, I'll. Shall I just end this and save you hanging around, and then maybe give me 10 minutes, and then I'll just come back on and say if she needs help or not.
Okay, all right
then. Thank you. Sorry, bye.
Right. No problem. Bye. Is everything okay?
Hello. Thanks for your patience at this difficult time.
Is everything all right?
She's all right. I had to just deal with the number 2, so that was fun. Never had to interrupt the recordings for this, people. Keeping it real.
That's real life.
Real life, real folk. What do you do?
Yes. Yeah.
We're lucky to still have her, so that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Mother-in-laws, who'd have them? Anyway.
Well, not I.
Where were we, Claire? I was
No, I know. Waffling on about myself as usual, I imagine.
I think we were talking about your the camaraderie and the family feeling, weren't we?
Absolutely.
In the theatre gives you that's just missing when you're doing those TV stuff, because it's in and out, bash, 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 and it is high pressure.
I imagine if you're, in something for long enough, or if you're in a, you get to have rehearsals and things like that. I imagine that you do get that also. But I guess it's probably theatre for me.
Theatre, first love. And then the audiobook. So you, right at the beginning, you said that you've done over 100. How did you, you said obviously that happened during lockdown, that you got your little booth and everything together. Did you get that through your agent, or did you just put it out there? Or
No, there's a thing called ACX, which is the Audible Creative Exchange, I think. And independent authors will put their stuff sort of to tender for auditions. And I did it that way. I just was lucky enough to get a couple of books. And then, I don't know, things just kind of moved quite swiftly from then. The audiobook industry is huge and getting huger. I think I personally, I don't listen to audiobooks. I don't know about you.
No, I don't. I like reading.
Me too. I love a book. I would much rather do that. But I know that people do love audiobooks, and it has just sort of grown really, and I have was given an awful lot of. In fact, I'm just finishing one now, which is in a series, in the Made in Yorkshire series, where this lovely story about this wonderful woman who goes off in the Second World War, but it's all set in the Dales, and she's got a lovely voice, and her husband talks a bit like that. But it's so beautifully written. Betty Firth. That's been a series. I work now. I don't sort of audition for them. I work now with various publishers. Some of them in the UK, some of them in America. America pays 3 times what you get paid in the UK.
Of course they do.
Yeah, they seem to treasure their voice actors more than they do here.
That's interesting.
I mean, it is. They have SAG, their version of Equity, and they have their minimum rates, and as I say, it's 3 times what ours is here. It's been an interesting journey because you start to just appreciate good writing more, I think, because like if you're rehearsing lines in a script, if it's well written, it just goes in. It's just easy, and a well written book I find a joy to narrate, but they're not all well written.
No, I suppose the clunkier it is, the harder it is to make it sound good, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there have been times where I have to be very careful that some of my personal comments, which I'm muttering away, oh my God, what a load of nonsense. Oh, for God's sake. She's not doing, and then I think, make sure that doesn't go off to the editor to be, So they're not all wonderful, but I really enjoy it. It's a weird old job, sitting in a little sweaty booth all day long, and avoiding the sounds of the trains going past my house and my dog barking and seagulls and and as a sort of side hustle as an actor, it's been great.
Yeah, because, I mean, it pays the rent, doesn't it, or the mortgage or whatever.
Exactly. And I feel very lucky that it has been something that I've been able to not rely on, but something that I have been able to just
have
settle.
In the background.
Yeah.
Every actor. I mean, you will never meet an actor that doesn't do something else.
Absolutely, and
sometimes many other things.
Exactly. We've all had so many jobs, various different things, and I feel lucky that I found one that it is creative, and it's like being given a script to a play, and I play all the characters and I direct it, and it's quite fun. Yeah.
And what a joy it must be to be able to do that as the secondary sort of income thing. So that's
exactly.
That's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream. And talking about Folkestone and the dream, we should, as we finish off our little chat, Claire's been very patient with the comings and goings in the Burke household. She has been part of a very local production called the Folkestone
Folkestone Ladies Erotic Fiction Club.
I forgot it for a moment. And
of which you are also a star.
No, I'm not in it at all. But the point of it is made by the lovely Sharon Burrell, who we mentioned earlier, who I think might come on the show at some point, and we'll hear from her about her directorial and writing journeys. So why don't you just explain to the listener what that is about and what was your part in it?
I mean, Sharon can tell you far better than I about this, but there's a Facebook group called the Folkestone Ladies Social Club, I think. This inspired her to write a really, really lovely short film called the Folkestone Ladies Erotic Fiction Club, which is basically... I say Sharon will describe this so much better than I, but it's about 3 women who live in Folkestone, 3 women with very different backgrounds, experiences. It's just a really lovely, gentle piece about these women kind of in midlife coming to terms with various things about their lives, sexuality, love. I was very honoured to be invited to play one of the women. And I play the role of Prim. who has her own special little journey. I've been lucky enough to catch a little glimpse of it. She's done such a great job. Tells so much of a story about 3 different women in such a short space of time. And I think you want to know more about them. You want to know where their lives go after this. And I hope that it will be the beginning of a series of these.
Yeah,
stories.
It would be amazing. I mean, it's going to be a great pilot. I saw some of the sort of behind the scenes stuff that she posted. It's beautifully shot because the director is amazing. It really is. Emily has got an amazing eye.
Absolutely. It looks gorgeous. There's some lovely use of music. It sounds gorgeous. I'm so heartily impressed. And that is exactly what I was saying before about making your own stuff. And it's, this is why I'm so determined to get my play off the ground, because it's easy to go, what I'd really like to do is finish my book. I'd really like to finish my play. I'd really like to. But she bloody well did it. She went out there and managed, because she's got such a lovely personality and such a great manner, and is able to draw people in and find all these professionals who gave up, a lot of time and their talents. There were some seriously good
there was some heavyweight
working on the
production. Yes,
absolutely. And she bloody did it. She gave herself a timeline as well and worked really hard.
I think that's the key, though. That's the key.
Maybe
it's always
rather than say one day.
Always, because whenever I do shows, and I'm working on another one now, if I don't book in when I'm going to do it, then it becomes a sort
nebulous. Of floating dream. Yes, yeah. And she gave herself, and her and Emily Mardavian, the director. I feel honoured to be part of it, but also very, so full of admiration for them, and it's inspirational.
Yeah, the whole theme of it is, and it's just a wonderful. It's a wonderful piece, and hopefully if there's any justice out there, someone will pick it up, and we'll get to see those 3 ladies' stories in more detail.
And shows how much creativity there is in Folkestone, to find all those people with so much talent who are mostly local, mostly Folkestone based.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. It's a real little hive. It's almost like its own little Soho, isn't it?
Yeah, we should have a Soho house, a
Folkho.
Folkho.
That's a different thing. You've met her before. On that chirpy, cheerful note, I think I have kept you in your box for long enough, Claire, and. If there's
it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. And if you had any tips or advice for any aspiring writers or audio narrators or actors, have you got anything out there that you think?
I suppose just what I was saying. Don't let it float. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Agreed.
And find other people who want to do it. Collaborate.
Passionate people.
Yeah, exactly. Share passion with people, and well, I don't mean like that, but
or you could if you want.
or that too.
One doesn't negate the other.
But yeah, I think that it is make your own work and make it happen.
Yeah. Well, on those wise words, Claire Storey, thank you so much for joining Real Folk. I will. Have you got a lovely picture of yourself you can email to me? Because
I'll find one.
Fabulous.
I'll have to get the old Photoshop out. No, I'll send you a picture. Absolutely.
Lovely. And hopefully catch up soon. Hopefully see you maybe at the official screening of the pilot.
I can't wait for
Not
it.
before.
Can't wait. Yes, absolutely. Glass of wine, please.
Yes,
let's do it.
Yes, let's get that in the diary too.
All right.
Thank you so much, Claire.
No problem at all.
Thank you. Sorry for the poo stop.
I'll go and have one of my own now.
Good, as long as I don't have to clear it. Thanks for listening to Real Folk with me, Jo Burke.